Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday carry people. It's the Big Canucker here, and I'm going to talk to you guys about something that's, I guess, not so much knife related as it is life related. And I've been struggling whether or not to let you folks know this because, you know what, I'm a knife channel, and I'm just a Canadian sitting up at his house, waiting to be fixed and get back to work and get my life going. But in this time that I've been off work I've been injured here for going on close to 4 years. I've had 3 surgeries with the 4th one coming up. Can't walk for great distance at a long time. My foot starts to kill me, and it's really put my life on hold. And with that comes a lot of challenges, and I've been able to, I guess, kind of overcome some of those challenges with the help of some great doctors. And I just wanted to kind of share what's been going on with my life. And I really hope that by sharing this with you, that somebody, if one person hears what I have to say, changes their life for the better, then I've done my job, and it'll make me feel better. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Now, this is part of my life that it's very, a lot of people don't like talking about it, but here goes. Now, the first thing I want to say is I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you guys to go out and do any of this stuff that it's going to cure you or help you or anything like that. All I'm saying is I've learned some stuff about myself in the last 6 months, and it's made a real positive change in my life, and I feel 100% better, and I hope that it can help somebody down the road. Now, I've not been one to suffer from depression or think suicidal thoughts or anything like that, or I've had a really good handle on my mental stability and my mental health for my whole life. But about 6 months ago, I was sitting at home and I was reading an article about COVID-19 and what was happening out there. And I started to breathe a little bit heavy, and I started to kind of breathe heavy and more heavy, and I couldn't catch my breath, and all of a sudden I figured I was having a heart attack. And I mean, I just had a full-blown panic. I was seeing spots out there and getting tunnel vision, and my lips were tingling, and I felt like there's a crazy band around my chest, and I was so sure that I was having a heart attack. I mean, I wasn't having any great amount of pain, but I thought, what the hell else could it be? And I was home by myself. So what I ended up doing is I called 911, and I had an ambulance show up, and I went out there and I greeted them, and I'm like, what's going on here, guys? I can't breathe and stuff like that. I think I'm having a heart attack. So they brought me in the ambulance. They sat me down. They asked me a lot of questions. They put a little thing on my fingertip that showed what my my oxygen level was, and they hooked me up to kind of a little mini EKG. Put these little stickers on my chest, and they could see that I wasn't having a heart attack. And they said, perhaps I think that you're having a panic attack. And I was like, oh my goodness, a panic attack? What the hell is going on? I mean, I was involved 10, 12, 13 years ago in a near plane crash, and it scared me so bad that I couldn't get back on the plane. And so I ended up not getting on the plane. And my wife had to come and pick me up in Calgary, Alberta, to drive me down to Lethbridge because I was so freaked out I could not get back on that plane. And then about 6 months later, we were flying to Vegas to get married, my wife and I. And through a combination of whole sorts of things, worried about the plane. And I wasn't worried that we were going to crash. I was worried that I was going to freak out and I was going to have some air marshal, because it was in the States. We were flying out of Great Falls, Montana into Las Vegas. And I thought I was going to, have some air marshal arrest me and, put a gun to my head, and, I was going to freak out and demand that they land the plane. I just had all these thoughts going through my head. So I ended up, my wife was on the plane and she was laughing and she was crying, and she ended up flying all the way to Vegas by herself. And I jumped in our Jeep and I drove, 17 hours straight throughout the night. Got there the next day. I said, don't worry, baby, I'll be there. I want to marry you. It's not a trick. It's not a trick. I do want to marry you. So I ended up driving that 17 hours. It took me, I think, 19 hours. Actually, I drove right from Great Falls, Montana, down the I-15 into Vegas. Got there the next day and stayed awake until midnight that night. So that's 2 days with no sleep. Had a great, just a ball with my wife and her sisters and my in-laws there. And then had a good sleep, got up the next day and got married, and it was it's been wonderful since then. But anyways, I just thought I'd throw that in there. So I had this panic attack, and they calmed me down, and I relaxed a little bit, and it hurt me so much that I would have a panic attack, just out of absolutely nowhere. And over the next probably 3-4 months, I just started to have more and more of these panic attacks. I went to the dentist. I'm sitting in the dentist chair, and they dripped a little bit of the freezing down the back of my throat, and it paralyzed my throat, and I couldn't breathe for a second. I couldn't swallow, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. And I've not been able. I've tried to go back to the dentist a couple times, and I couldn't do it. And so then I'd be sitting here. My wife was getting ready to leave to go to work, and I'd be freaking out, panicking about my wife going to work and me being here by myself. And I'd have to get up, and I'd have to, struggle to go for a walk around the block, because I would get 3/4 of the way and my foot would be hurting and throbbing so badly that I could hardly finish my walk, but I had to do it because I was panicking so bad. And I was just absolutely at my wit's end. I mean, I've never been one, to panic in my whole life. I've been involved in life or death situations where I've had to think clearly and calmly and coolly, and I've saved people's lives, and that's not a brag. That's just, I've been involved in industrial accidents where I had a coworker. He was trapped by a great big machine, and if I pulled one lever wrong, the guy would have been crushed and cut in half, and he would have been dead. And you know what? I thought about it clearly and calmly, and I made the right decision, and I rescued the guy, and I brought him out, and saved his life. I've given a guy, same thing. The guy had a heart attack and CPR, and I administered first aid until the ambulance guys got there, and I did my part. And I've been that person under pressure to perform. I think good, but I could not understand what was going on with my thinking, with my life. Any little thing that went wrong, I was falling apart, and I don't know what was going on. And it absolutely blew me away. So luckily enough, I managed to find a really good therapist who started, I started talking, I started, some coping mechanisms, but it still wasn't good enough for me, because I couldn't understand what was going on within my life that would allow me to have this. And, I know that I have been at work, and, you're at home, and, things like that, but I've been trying to find ways to, to enrich my life and hopefully somebody else's life. And so that kind of lessened them a little bit, but I was still having these crazy panicky thoughts. And one of the things that, we tried is I went to my regular general practitioner, because this therapist was not allowed to, I guess you can't write, prescription stuff. And so we tried kind of an antidepressant. It was with my foot too as well, because the antidepressant on my foot would, it's supposed to relieve nerve pain. So they were going to see if it was nerve pain on my foot. And so the antidepressant would have double bonus, would help me with these panicky thoughts. But I ended up taking them for a week, and after the second day taking them, it gave me vertigo so bad I couldn't get out of bed for 4 days. Like, it was incredible. It was, I've never felt so terrible. I literally have to lay on my side. If I stood up, I was swoozy, and it was awful. It was awful. So that didn't work. And so from talking to my therapist quite a bit more, I had really not only signs of panic, I was also extremely depressed. I had a hard time sleeping, which I don't sleep at the best of times, and lack of interest and motivation, and lethargy, and massive weight gain. I've put on 75 pounds over the since I've been hurt, and I've had a hard time trying to take it off. And they ended up doing a series of blood tests and found out that I had a low testosterone, extremely low testosterone. And there's all these jokes about that, and it's funny how your balls don't work, and you're not a man and stuff like that. And I was a fairly manly man, and this really, really threw me for a loop. My testosterone level, I think the normal is 10 to 25, and I was at about 3.5. And that's when your testosterone is supposed to be at the high point. When you first get up in the morning at, I think 7 to say 9 o'clock, that is going to be your highest point of your testosterone throughout the day. And when I had my blood test done, it was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was 3.5, so it was extremely low. And with that, I guess there is a little bit of thing. Your testosterone is what it's your male hormone. It's what it prevents muscle growth, hair growth and stuff like that. But me being Aboriginal part, I can't grow hair to begin with at the first point. But man, oh man. So what they ended up doing is they started me on a testosterone replacement therapy. And I'm not out there advocating that this is going to cure you, as the end all, as the be all, because there are some side effects, there are some things that can happen to you, which I'll kind of maybe get into a little bit. But I ended up being prescribed 1 milliliter, or I think it's one mil, or 1,000 milliliters, or 100 milliliters, or 1 mil once a week. So every Wednesday I go and get a intramuscular shot in either my shoulder or my thigh, and I'm going to actually start doing it myself. And within 36 hours, I start to feel better. I start to feel like I had more energy, more vitality. I start to feel like I was being my old self quite a bit more. And so I've been on it now for about, I'm going to say, a month. And those panicky feelings are just about gone. I feel like I've got way more energy. I feel like I'm thinking a lot clearly. I'm actually sleeping better because I slept till 6 o'clock this morning, and usually I'm up at 4:30. My memory has gotten better. And I'm not saying that this is the end all or be all, or this is what's going to cure everything that you have, but I just wanted to know that if you're feeling some of the things similar, talk to your doctor. And if your doctor won't do anything or even give you a blood test to find out, then switch doctors, or go to an endocrinologist, get a specialist. Now in Canada, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but in Canada, if you ask your doctor to send you to a specialist and he refuses you, he can't do that. And you can complain about him and tell him that you're going to complain about him. Because some doctors, they're like, well, I know what's wrong and I can do this and I can do that. And, but they're not, some of them are not specialists in your endocrinology, I guess, which is your lymph nodes and what your body produces. But I just wanted to kind of share that. I feel like I've got more energy. I've got more creative juices. The panic, because I trained my thinking from when I got that little bit of panic attack, my mind wouldn't let it go until it became, a full-blown panic attack, or I had to do something to lessen that feeling. I trained my mind to think about it. That's another thing with panic, with the anxiety disorders in general. It's your mind thinks from, I think it's around 1,000 to 3,000 words per minute is how fast your mind can think. So when you're at the beginning of that panic attack, you're not realizing that your mind is up to 3,000 times saying, something's going to happen, something's going to go wrong, something's going to happen, something's going to go wrong. That's why they tell you when you're in a panic attack, sometimes people will say, okay, stop, and say maybe take your head and dunk it into a bucket of cold ice water. It'll shock you. It'll slow you down. Other people say you need to be grounded by taking off your socks and shoes and putting your feet into the carpet, feeling them with your toes and thinking about that sensation. And then, or another thing that worked for me was to just all of a sudden grab a pen and a piece of paper and start writing how I felt. And that allowed me to slow everything down. So once I slowed everything down, I was able to get a handle on how I was thinking and take that message of something's going to happen to, it's going to be okay. And I would change that message, and it would start to be okay. Now I'm still, because for 6 months I was taking that spiral. It's awfully hard to shut it off just like that. So, but now instead, let's just say on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being perfectly normal, 10 being in the midst of a full-blown panic attack. You start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to your panic attack. Well, since I've been taking the TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, I get 1, 2, 3, and then it stops. But my body still sometimes is expecting the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so I still feel a little bit of anxiety, but nowhere near. And that's going to go away. I'm quite confident that my doctor and I have spoken about it. It's going to go away. Now, I am just not saying that this is going to be the thing to fix you no matter what. I'm just saying that this helped me out, and I hope that it can help you too as well. Now, with testosterone replacement therapy, there are certain things too as well that can go wrong, and you need to have your doctor fully explain what they are. I mean, you can get, I guess it increases your blood production so much that your blood thickens up and it has a really hard time pumping, and you can, maybe, develop some blood clotting and stuff like that. You could actually, your body, because it's getting injected with testosterone, will try to regulate by producing estrogen, and then you get some boobs. That's one of the things. You can develop skin acne, rashes, stuff like that. But just make sure that your doctor fully explains the side effects, so you know what you can do, so you know what's happening to you or can happen to you going forward. So now, this is not something there that I'm talking about just it's going to cure all or everybody. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm not anything like that. I just wanted to share a part of my life that I hope somebody will listen to this, watch this, and improve their life. That's all I'm putting it out there for. So thank you guys so much for being a part of my life over the last 6 months. That has helped me get through this, because talking to you guys, doing a knife video, things like that have been a real high point in my life, and I've gained some really, really good friends, and I love hearing from you guys. And please forgive me, this is not a knife video, but it's just something that I felt that I had to do, and it's something that I wanted to make sure that you guys can be helped, I hope. So, if you like what you saw, give me the thumbs up, as well as subscribe. Appreciate it so much. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers so I can go live, maybe have some chats like this, answer some questions live and stuff like that. I would love to do that. And not only, I would like to also monetize my channel so I can afford to, bring in some of this new product and these new knives and these new EDC gear so you guys can have a look at it. Appreciate it so much, you guys. Thank you for stopping by. Please, 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 please stay safe out there, because we're not out of the woods. Please keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.